What's going on, bro? Can I give you one of these to go?
Yeah, for sure. What is this about?
What do you think about abortion? Hot topic.
I think it's wrong. Even though it's a hot topic, I think it's wrong.
What do you mean wrong?
I think it's
Like more, narrow that down. It's like wrong like stealing or wrong like killing children or
I
what's
think it's wrong like killing children.
Okay. Why do you think it's killing children?
Because, well, you're creating a life that is to be. You're creating something that could possibly be. I think it's wrong.
You're saying you've created something possibly be, so it's wrong to kill it?
I'm just saying. I just think it's wrong to kill it.
Yeah.
It's a human.
It is a human. So it's not a life that could be, it's a life that is.
Yeah.
The baby's already alive even when it's that big. Do you agree with that statement?
Definitely.
So most people in this country don't, right? A lot of people think that 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 18 weeks, or birth is when a baby gets its value. But I say that God says that baby is valuable from conception. What do you think about that?
I agree.
You agree? You're a Christian?
Yeah.
Praise God. Most people who agree are. Okay, so now, have you ever heard of the Abolitionist movement before?
No, I've never.
Are you pro-life?
I wouldn't. I'm not really like connected to anything
Okay.
with this. But
Would you say you're pro-life though? Like you are against abortion?
Yeah, pro-life. Yeah.
Right. So the pro-life movement at whole, it says like babies are precious and we shouldn't kill them or whatnot.
Yeah.
But they think that women are innocent of abortion. They think that women are victims. Right. And so I'm just out here making a claim that like, hey, it's murder. So the only way that we can treat it like murder is to treat it like murder. So if a woman was to abort her child, it should be classified as homicide. That's very different than the normal pro-life person. What is your thought on that? Do you think it should be like homicide?
I don't believe it should be like homicide.
So why not? And this right here is like the reason I'm out here, other than sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with people.
So you're an abolitionist?
I'm an abolitionist, right? So I believe, I'll give you my position. I believe abortion should be illegal from conception without exception.
Does Plan B count? Is that like
Does it?
murder? I'm not sure.
What do you mean by Plan
I'm
B?
not really sure what Plan B does.
Right. So Plan B is the morning after pill, right? So you take it morning after. What it does is it sheds your uterine lining, so that if you did ovulate and have a fertilization, it cannot implant. Right. So I'd say it should not be legal, but I wouldn't say it's murder because you also, at that situation, you can't tell if you were pregnant, right? So it's kind of issue with like hormonal birth control too, because hormonal birth control, has a lot of abortifacient aspects where it thins your uterine lining. So then how a baby's made, right, is in the fallopian tube and it travels down for about 2 weeks and then it gets in the uterus, right? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Maybe I realize I have a lot of education in this, so sometimes I got to make sure people are on the same page, right? So an egg releases, sex happens, sperm, right? It meets. It takes about 2 weeks, 3 weeks to travel and get in the uterus. So Plan B sheds that uterine lining and blocks off the hormones. So if that baby conceived, it is unable to implant. So I wouldn't say that's murder because we couldn't know if it, she might have not actually had the baby, right? But I still think it should be illegal because it has the possibility. That makes sense? And so it's just, and it's the same kind of thing. I'm not saying that every abortion is murder. If a pimp takes a woman who's pregnant and forces her to get an abortion, she's not guilty of abortion, right? Or if someone who is under duress of threat of life chooses to do it, we have a court system that's supposed to help people. Maybe it's third degree, maybe it's manslaughter. But we have to go back to the root of the conversation is it homicide? Because our culture says that is not a homo sapien, though we know it is. Right. So when you kill it, it should be homicide. Right. Homicide, which is killing homo sapiens or killing the same, right? You're killing each other. Our culture says, no, that thing doesn't have any life or value until it's out of the womb because it's not wanted. Right. So now, do you agree now, after that explanation, if a woman willfully chooses to terminate a child, it should be homicide?
I still need to think about it.
Yeah, because it gets your heart, right?
Yeah, it's a very tough situation.
Yeah, it's tough.
Controversial for a reason. Have you been approached by anyone who's like yelling at you or getting
100%.
at you for speech?
Yeah, that's cool.
How do you deal with that?
I talk to them, and go ahead.
But like, even if they like start yelling at you and stuff, like, how do you deal with that?
So I'd say there's threefold how I deal with it. Number one, I record. This is being recorded. It's a public place, right? I don't have to tell you, but I'll tell you. I record because I've had people tell me or say they're going to call the cops based on me saying something that I didn't say. So I protect myself, which is my First Amendment right? And I usually don't tell people I'm recording, and it's not really consequential, right? But secondly, Jesus said, well, through John, right? John wrote in 1 John, any man loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him, right? So I don't love this world. I struggle with wanting to love this world. I want people to like me, but I look them in the face. Yeah, I look them in the face and I say, this person is angry at me, hates me. They don't really hate me. They don't know me. What they hate is that I'm standing for this, or that they had an abortion and they feel guilty, or they know someone who had an abortion and they feel offended, or they just hate God. I've met people who, at the end of a long, angry conversation, it calms down and they just tell me they were abused in the church and they just hate Christians. So, to answer your question, how I handle it is, I just, not at me. Like, nobody knows me. Nobody knows my name. And even if they did know me, because I work nearby, so I see coworkers sometimes, in the end, standing out here saying babies shouldn't be killed, right? Now this sign right here, I'm going to tangent to kind of answer what you're saying too. A lot of people freak out over this one. They're like, why does it say the word rape? Why does it say the word rape? Well, a lot of pro-life groups, like Donald Trump, who says he's pro-life, he thinks there should be exceptions to laws to allow rape babies to be aborted. Have you heard that before? So he says, hey, no abortions, but if there's a rape baby, a woman can get abortion because of rape. What he's saying is one baby's made from rape, one's not, and they have different value. That's wrong, right? And God says he hates that. So that's an abolitionist position, is like, we don't see, there's no reason to ever, even rape, even incest, even if the mother's life is risked, you cannot kill that child, because that is a human being worthy of respect and dignity. And God says don't kill. So in the end, the goal is we should push for legislation to ban abortion as murder, because then people will be taught to not kill their children. Right now, women and men, we're taught that it's just a clump of cells. We're taught that it doesn't matter. I mean,
We are a clump of cells, you know?
we're all clumps of
We're
cells.
all clumps of
People say
cells.
that. They say, oh, it's just a clump of cells. I'm like, you're a clump of
You're a
cells,
clump of cells,
right?
yeah.
But what matters is the Spirit of God that is in that child, right? Not maybe not the Holy Spirit, but God has put a spirit. And he says, yeah, a soul, right? It's the breath of God that he gave to Adam that comes into all of us. He made that baby, and anything you do to end that life is an abomination to God. And how do we teach the culture to not do horrible things unless we make it law, right? And that's it. Because pro-lifers don't really want to make laws like this. They want to just say, oh, we need to help women. And I'm like, well, helping women, a lot of them are still going to kill their kids because it's hard to have a kid. Right? Does that add a little color to kind of what you've heard of before?
Makes sense. Also, I like what you're doing here. Like you're exercising your First Amendment.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, have you seen those guys who go to like post offices and they start reporting?
Yeah, I have a hard time with First Amendment audits because usually
Yeah.
they're trying to pick a fight.
Yeah.
Like they're looking for so some of them are good, but it's like a lawsuit thing, and they're trying to. My flesh likes that because I'm like, yeah, get them. But then I'm like, what would Jesus say? Jesus says,
That's true.
Jesus says, be meek, be kind-hearted. So I have no interest out here to be rude to anybody.
Okay.
But I will 100% call people out on their sin. People tell me I had abortions. I'll say, you are a murderer. Yeah. And you need Jesus Christ. Right? I point to that because I'm not out here to save babies. My goal is out here to glorify and honor God. God could save every baby tomorrow if he wanted to. Why doesn't he? It's his will. Right? But I'm out here to honor and glorify him. And that's important as men especially, is we don't get lost in the goal. My goal is not to save babies. That is a outcome of seeing the world come to Christ. Right? So you're a Christian, you said? You go to church around here?
No, I haven't been going, but I've been thinking about coming recently. Okay. I go to like Bible study.
Are you local?
Not really.
Where are you at?
I'm more by Stockton.